Hey there, YouTube. This is 13 Dragon Blade. I finally have a new phone. The graphics look a little bit better for a camera, but I'm going to be quickly going over the profile that I'm going to be taking to my locals probably within the next week or so. I'm going to be trying to enter a 3v3 tournament, have a team ready, and we're going to try to do our best to win. So, the deck that I'm going to be going with is Bujin's. I did some tweaking to it, and I think the deck is really good on how it is. And I made sure to include all of the good techs and basically make sure that the deck is up and running. So I'm going to just quickly go through the deck profile, and so you can see there's not really that much glare. And if there is, then I'm sorry, and I apologize ahead of time. So 3 Yamato, your searcher, and mandatory to run at 3. And to Mikazuchi to drop if Yamato gets destroyed, which is usually what ends up happening. I mean, by bottomless or by something stupid like that. I've had several times where I had to avoid getting bottomless, but it's okay because I run forbidden cards in this deck, so I want them to try to bottomless me. And even if I do drop Mikazuchi, it's whatever. One Haruma. Now I'm probably gonna get a hell for this. They're like, why not run two Haruma? She's such a good card. The reason why I think that one is enough is because I don't really like banishing all of my stuff. I like to have it in the graveyard, and I don't run what is it? I don't run Peacock anymore, so I don't really like going Peacock into her. I used to do that all the time, just Peacock go into her, and you just want to get Arasuda later. Speaking of which, one of him too. Um, 1 and 1 just seems equal number to me. I mean, I do like Haruma. She's really good. And, of course, 2000 beat her. She can try to bait out Thunder King with her effect. It's nice, but I just don't like having to rely on that. And, of course, the one Arasuda because you can do the combo with these two to get them on the field. And then for your graveyard Bujin monsters, you have 1 Quillin. That one's pretty obvious. You need to get rid of annoying face-up cards, and then 2 Hare and 2 Turtle. Turtle is really good right now. I wanted to run 3 of him, but I think that 2 is enough. Everybody's been telling me to maybe bump it up to 3 or test it at 3, and I did. I just didn't like it. I didn't like having to rely on turtle targeting too much because sometimes I would. My usual first turn play is I'll go for the hare, not the turtle. So, with that in mind, I usually like going turtle first. If I know that they have a targeting back row, such as like Fiendish or something. Like if I know they used it with a duality or something, then I'll do it. And lastly, for the last Bujin monster, 3 Crane, because, it's at 3 still, and Bujins are a very rogue deck now. Not a lot of people are playing them. There's a lot of BA, Necros, and Shaddolls. Necros is actually one of the more annoying matchups, but this deck can deal with it. And 2 Honest, because the ban list gave us 2, and it's been at 2 for a while. Whoops. And why not have a deck that has 5 Honests? Because that just makes the game so much more fair, right? So, those were the other non-Bujins. And then, of course, Effect Veiler. I fear Necros. I just don't like them. And yes, I know they could Trish this, but this is usually for hitting their first turn play. If you have this in play, you drop it on Manju, so that way they don't search Brio, making them have to waste a preparation of rights, which they don't really like to do unless, they usually have to either do one or the other. You use this on to hit their Manjus and their Senjus to stop them from searching. Because usually if they set a card, it's usually Book of Eclipse, or Book of Moon, or even MST. They're just going to want to get rid of your back row, because they play no backfield. So this usually stops their Manju plays, and they usually just sit for a turn, and they say pass. Because they can't do all their stupid looping stuff. Which is annoying, you have to sit through it for like an hour. Okay, so those are all the monsters. I don't know exactly how many, I believe that there's 18. Now we're going to go for the spells, because it's a very, very hefty spell deck. Pretty tanky. I finally got them hollow now. It's a super rare one from the Secret Forces. Uh, most of the cards you're going to be searching for are Beast Warriors, so yeah, you gotta play the Rhoda for Beast Warriors, because if you don't, you're an idiot. Three pots, again, mandatory searching. Draw power is nice. You need to draw. I was originally running two duality in the supply squad, but I just didn't like the supply squad that much. I'd always open it, and it helped me, yes, but it was always MST bait, and usually that's okay, but not for me. Two Bujin Carnation, because it's a Bujin deck. Why would you not run a Reborn for Bujins that puts back your banished stuff? And also mandatory, two Kaisers. An annoying card in the meta right now, especially if you just have a Yamato and you sit there and you get your setup and you still have this on board and they can't get rid of it. It's annoying for them to worry about having to MST this and worrying about your other back row, which you don't run really any traps besides Decree. This is the Decree build of it. And now for the important cards. One Forbidden Dress. Good card. I just kinda use Dress for, just give me a minute. I kinda use Dress because, I get annoyed with Deep Prison and stuff that targets. I just don't like having to worry about stuff that destroys or targets, and I just like being able to protect my Vujins even more with the Forbidden cards. So, even if it drops attack, it doesn't matter. You still have Crane, you still have ways to protect it for a turn, and you can even use this during damage step, which I like all the Forbidden cards because you can drop it in damage step. You can drop it towards their monster, let's say if they have a Dark Law in play, because I had to deal with Dark Law all the time because of the hero players and because of the BA players liking to do it. You swing in with Yamato, you drop this during damage step. They usually have nothing unless they have form change, but I doubt any of them play Vapor. So the only thing you have to worry about is having to deal with absolute zero form change, which even this card is kind of good against too, because you can chain it while they get the zero away. Your stuff is protected, you lose a few attack, then they bring out their other dude thinking that you're not going to swing at them. You swing again, and you drop Crane. And then they're like, the fuck? So yeah, that works. You can also drop the Honest, during the damage step, why not? Two Lances, and two Chalice. Whatever the Vela doesn't hit, Chalice does. Whatever you're worried about, any dorky effect monsters going off, Chalice will hit them if your Veiler doesn't, and the two Lances are there just for extra protection. And again, these are all damage step drops, so you have at least 5 other damage step drops besides your Cranes and Honests. Then, of course, Stables. Raigeki and 2 MSTs. You can't really fit 3 with the Forbidden cards in there, because the Forbidden cards are really good in this deck. And I think that they're very overlooked, and a lot of players don't really like using them. Lance has been seeing a little bit of play, but Chalice and the other ones aren't, and Chalice is really good. I mean, the attack boost doesn't really matter, because you could still drop Crane and Honest, and you could also use your Forbidden Lance to drop it, so it doesn't really matter. I mean, they could do it. And, of course, because we don't play traps, why should they? I mean, this is obviously awful against Necros, and usually cited out for the Necros matchup. But for every other matchup, like Shadal's and Burning Abyss for their Fire Lakes, and stupid dorky stuff like that for Vanities, because Vanities can kind of be a problem. I mean, not always, because you have Yamato and Mikazuchi that you could normal, but when you get into Exceeds, yeah, you don't want Vanities on the field. So that's the main deck, and we're going to go to the extra deck, and then the side deck, which I do have actually prepared a side deck for the tournament already. 3, Bujin Te Susuanos. You have to make this guy, you make him a lot. You usually make him first turn, if you can do it. If not second turn, because of your setup. But yeah, you want to make this guy, all the time. I usually do it third turn, because I have a Kaiser or have something to protect me. It's just nice having this guy, because you can always make him. 1 Kagatsuchi, because Kagatsuchi is good. It is the one that you use to mill, if I remember correctly. You just use him for milling, and to protection effect. Tsukuyomi, because why not draw? And its effect isn't too bad if it leaves the field by a card effect. So if they bottomless him, you'll get the Beast Warriors back, which is nice. I won't protect him. I'll actually let it go so I can get the Beast Warriors. One Amaterasu because, Vanish stuff is a problem. And you can make him. I've made him a couple times. I just don't really like making him that often, but he's there as an option. Same reasoning behind Omega. Pesky back row. Just all sorts of back row that the lances and anything can't hit. Your really biggest fear is if they Night Beam you. If they Royal Decree you, or if they Trap Stun you, it's not going to matter. You set a lot of back row, yes, but they're all spells. So usually you're not going to have to worry about all that. They'll think that they're traps. You set a bunch of back row, and they'll think that they're traps, and they'll just trap stun, and then you'll flip up the forbidden cards. They're like, what the hell? But yeah, this is against their backfield. If you know that you can't have Lance and everything protected at that moment, you can always use him for backfield. Quilly's a thing. Fire Fists might be a thing. So I just kind of tossed it in there. I had to. I mean, I had another Ragna Zero, the one besides the one that was in my Trap Tricks hands. Um, because why not? Tiger King is a skill drain on legs. My Honor Arc, because I had one that I pulled from the Premium Gold. I just said, put the other one in here, why not? This guy, because he is funny with Kaiser Coliseum. He is very funny with Kaiser Coliseum. They can't attack it, and you could just swing in for 4K without any fear. Paladynamo, because nobody expects it, and it's a really good card. I kind of like it in place of Castel, because Castel gets rid of problem monsters that are on the field. But if you negate their effects and then crash with it, that's usually a good thing. The only thing this isn't really good against is Shadol Widna. But every other deck I've seen, they're usually completely astounded when you bring this guy out, ram into something, and then you could either set it in defense or you could just have it die to draw a card. It's just a couple of uses. Diamond Direwolf because it's staple. Abyss Dweller, I know it kind of hurts this deck, but you have to play it, particularly because Burning Abyss is a huge problem, and Necros is a huge problem with them banishing their kaleidoscopes and their mirrors. It just gets annoying, and Abyss Dweller stops all that, so I like that a lot. And because you need games sometimes, I've never really made him because I usually kill them before they do that, but it's not a bad card. It's not a bad choice to have in the main deck. So that's the main and extra. Now I'm going to go with the side deck really fast. Getting it out real quick. Okay, one at a time. One Fossil Dina. I finally got my third one from a good friend of mine, Chris. He is just good. Really good against Necros. If you set it and you know that they have a lot of monsters, they'll attack into it. Maybe thinking if it's like, if it's Bujins, they'll probably not expect this at all because I haven't seen like any Bujin player put this in their extra deck, even though it's really good to have with Kaiser and Yamato on the field, just having this guy. And Yamato can kill whatever is bigger, and you just poke them constantly with this guy. It's just nice. And of course, like I said, Necros, they summon everything. They have attrition hand. They're pretty set that you don't have anything, and then you flip this guy up, and then they cry. Because the only thing that can save them at that point would be Gungnir, if I remember correctly. So yeah, Gungnir. Necros are a thing, Burning Abyss, anything that searches. It's just a good card to discard. Thunder King, because everything searches, and if you drop this first turn against a Necros player, they'll scoop, usually. More Necros hate, more hate in general. Neither player can banish cards. That's fine with me. I can just relax a turn without having to worry about, Necros mirrors or anything like that, and it's just nice to sight in against them. It's really, really good. Flying Sea, because I don't want them exceeding, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it says the controller of this card, so bring this to their side. You obviously don't side it in against Synchro decks, but against Exceeds decks, go for it. More hate. Hate in general can be used for Necros, BA especially. Get rid of their Dantes, get rid of their Virgils. Any of the stupid dorky stuff they have in the graveyard, just get rid of it. The other dress and the other chalice, if need be. Um, I side this in a lot. I can't tell you how many times I've sided in another chalice because it's that good. And dress is just good in general. Anyway, I gotta speed this up a little bit. MST does not need an explanation, you know why it's there. Hate in general for the meta that relies on the graveyard. Quilly and pretty much anything that specials. I mean, why not have just one? Everything and Quilly. I hate Quilly. That card shuts their deck down completely. So yes, the card of the night will probably be Sunsono. This is 13 Dragonblade, signing off.